And are we rolling yet? We are rolling. Okay, we're 5 seconds in already. Okay, hello, this is Ralph, and in this stream, I want to talk about Nikola Tesla's number. This is something that's been catching on for a long time now, something I've decided to try for myself, the so called 369 manifestation technique. And what I'm going to be finding out over the next 30 days is this like a wow technique or is it just woo woo? And the 369 manifestation technique is based on a quote from not Napoleon Hill, Nikola Tesla, who said, "If you only understood the magnificence of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, you would understand the mysteries of the universe." Something like that. That's not an exact quote, but something along those lines. And a lot of people have been noticing patterns that repeat, repeating patterns that are based on the numbers 3, 6, and 9. And I think after kind of looking into this a little bit, there is definitely something to this. Like you look back at some of the most ancient spiritual traditions on the planet. Hinduism, one of the oldest surviving religions on the planet, the one of the sacred numbers in Hinduism is 3. The concept of Trinity comes from the Hindus. One of the other sacred numbers of Hinduism, 18, breaks down to 9. 9, a multiple of 3. Another sacred number in Hinduism, 108, breaks down to, again, 9, a multiple of 3. Now, you compare that to what we see in Christianity. Christianity, the concept of Trinity, the number 3, a holy number. In Celtic paganism, 3 is seen as a very holy and auspicious number. And I mean, you just see this idea of 3 as a very special number in a lot of different esoteric traditions. In Buddhism, for example, some of the teachings of Buddha would be based around the number 3, multiples of 3, a threefold question, a threefold answer. One of the parables of Jesus, the Good Samaritan, based on a threefold pattern. A priest, a Levite, and a Samaritan are walking down a road. The whole parable of the Good Samaritan. In a lot of our jokes, they're based on a threefold pattern. A priest, a nun, and a rabbi walk into a bar. We see this repeating pattern of 3 a lot in religions, in spirituality, in jokes, in literature. I remember a lot of Beatles songs that I grew up listening to. Standard Beatles song. It seems like it was a refrain and 3 verses. And yeah, you had that 3 pattern of 3 there. And I mean, you see this a lot too in stores, big stores, like Walmart. Go online, check out some of the Walmart prices. It's like rarely will you see something on sale for like $4. Instead it'll be $3.99. Okay, what's up with that? A lot of times, I grew up with Dollar Day sales. And a lot of the Dollar Day sales would be not really $1 sales, but 99-cent sales. The old Get Smart series, one of the more memorable characters from Get Smart. I don't remember who the lead character was. I know his name was Maxwell Smart. Don't remember his number. But the one person whose number I do remember, Agent 99. For some reason, that has stuck with me. Agent 99, played by Barbara Feldon. And originally, they wanted to give her the character the name of Agent 69. But the censors of that day and age thought 69 was too provocative. So they changed it to 99. But still, I mean, is there something in the human psyche, Is there something in the pattern of nature itself that seems to be built around 3, 6, and 9? And I mean, we see this in a lot of different places. And I think that there could very well be something to this pattern of 3, 6, and 9. Take some of the esoteric traditions of, let's say, tarot and numerology, and more specifically, tarot numerology. If you've done any work in tarot, if you've even messed around with the practice, if you've messed around with numerology, you know that the number 3 is the number of God in a lot of different spiritual traditions. It's the number of Trinity, it's the number of the Creator, the number of the process of creation, creativity. The number 3 represents all those things. Now you double 3, and what do you get? Well, you get 6, but in numerology and in tarot numerology, you get what usually happens right smack dab in the middle of creation. 6 is the number of the generative principle. It is the number of nurturing. It is the number of healing. It is the number of moving forward. Even though 6 is an even number, 6 is seen as a number of progressing forward, leaving your sorrows behind, seeking out healing and getting the nurturing that you need to move forward. And 6 has been called the generative principle in a lot of different spiritual traditions. What's the generative principle? The generative principle is the why behind creation. 6 is seen as representing the generative principle. Why did God create the universe? Some traditions say he did it out of love. He did it out of love, the love of creation. He wanted to create something that he could interact with and love. Other religious traditions just put it very simply. God got bored. He said, I'm going to make me a universe. And there hasn't been a dull moment ever since. But yeah, 6 represents that why behind creation. And that why can be understood as love, be understood as nurturing, caregiving, all those things. The number 6 represents that in many esoteric traditions, including tarot reading. So yeah, 6, a multiple of 3. You double 3, you get 6, and you find yourself right smack dab in the middle of creation. Now, what about the number 9? Well, that's another multiple of 3. You multiply 3 times 3, you don't get what's smack dab in the middle of creation, but you get what's at the end, the conclusion, the final outcome, you might say, the end of cycle. And that is all represented by the number 9. And so, yeah, you got 3, the number of creation, 6, the generative principle and what we see going on in the middle of creation. And then number 9, the end of creation, end of the old cycle, ushering in the beginning of a new cycle. So yeah, we see this in tarot. We see this in other spiritual traditions and religious traditions. These numbers, 3, 6, 9, representing some great noble truths and being representative of being sacred numbers in a way in and of themselves. In Masonic thought, we see the number 3, being given the 3rd degree. And in some ranks in Masonic lodges, the 3rd degree is one of the highest ranks you can get. In other Masonic lodges, the 33rd degree is the highest rank you can be getting. So yeah, number 3 right there. So is there something to the 3, 6, 9 pattern? And you can see that you can play around with this in mathematics. There's a lot of YouTube videos that deal with vortex mathematics, which just shows some very interesting patterns that we see in nature based on 3, 6, and 9, and how 3, 6, and 9 seem to be very special numbers. So, what is the 369 manifestation method, and how can we tell if it works? Well, when it comes to the concept of manifesting in general, a lot of people would consider that to be woo woo, just, plain old fashioned BS. I mean, Elon Musk might give it the old poop emoji. That's the way I used to think about it several years ago when I first hearing about manifesting, manifest something out of nothing. And there are a lot of people out there, though, that would disagree with that assessment. And I have certainly grown in my own assessment of my previous attitude about manifesting. Do a YouTube search on manifestation, and particularly manifestation TED Talk, and you will come up with a lot of hits of some very high-powered, high-profile people talking about how to manifest the life of your dreams, how to attract abundance, law of attraction, manifestation, kind of stuff. How to create the life of your dreams from the quantum vortex. A lot of very influential, intelligent people giving talks about this. Mind Valley talks, TED talks, and small channels like mine just mentioning manifestation in passing. So yeah, if a lot of very influential people are backing this idea of manifestation, could there be something to it? And as a student of Napoleon Hill, I know that there is most definitely something to the idea of manifesting our reality from out of our thoughts. Napoleon Hill stated famously, "Thoughts are things." Before you do something in the material world, you first have to think it, you first have to believe it, you first have to put some feeling and emotion into it, and then you take inspired action and you make it happen. But it all begins in the mind as a thought. So yes, all this talk about manifestation, I think there is definitely something to it. And the more that we try to rewire our brains in a positive way to be seeing things in a more positive light, the greater our ability will become to manifest things in our material world. Take things out of the world of thought, bring them into the brick and mortar world, the 3D world of 3D reality. So, with that, all that said, yes, I believe there probably is something to the idea of manifestation in and of itself, and this 369 manifestation method that's being talked about on YouTube. I've decided to put that to the test, and I've noticed there's several different ways that you can work the 369 manifestation method. The easiest and probably the most popular way is by writing your affirmation 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night. And, a lot of people say that this works for them. And I started doing something similar to this just the other day. And I will use a lot of positive affirmations in my life, in my work. And what I've noticed is what I do generally, what I tend to do is I'll write down an affirmation just once, and then I'll repeat it to myself over and over again. And then the next day when I go to do the practice, I don't remember the affirmation. I have to whip out that piece of paper from my billfold, pull it out, take it out, find it in there, somewhere in between a lot of the other papers I have and some of the money that I have in my billfold, whip out that piece of paper, and then read that affirmation again, then put it back in my wallet. And then when it comes time to do the affirmation again, I still can't remember. I'm looking for my wallet so I can find that affirmation. And it's like I can repeat the affirmation over and over and over again. even to the point of doing it like 108 times using a string of mala beads. But it's still it's not really cemented in my consciousness. Now, what I've noticed when you write down the affirmation, 3 times or 6 times or 9 times, by the end of the day, I've got that affirmation memorized. There is a definite positive benefit to writing out your affirmations and your intentions, as opposed to just writing them out once and then repeating it over and over again like a parrot. If you write it over and over again, you're more likely to remember it. So I think writing your affirmations out rather than just reciting them has a positive benefit. It definitely helps you to remember, in grade school, maybe some of you in high school, you had this punishment where if you were acting up in class, the teacher would make you write on the board 50 times, I must not be so blah, blah, blah. Or, Harry Potter, I must never tell a lie. I mustn't tell lies. And, you write that down. And the idea behind writing that down numerous times was that, it would make an impression upon the student. The student would bloody well remember it, especially after having had to write it down 50 times, 100 times. Never did I see a teacher make a student write it down just 39 times or 69 times or 369 times. But, that might be an effective tool too. But in the 369 manifestation method, what you do, it's built upon writing down your affirmation and then rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it so it seeps more strongly into your conscious mind and into your subconscious mind. And once it's there, you can actually work with it more successfully than if you have to look for your billfold, whip out a piece of paper and just recite it over and over again. I think there is a definite benefit, a definite power to writing it down, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times in a row, 6 times in a row, 9 times in a row. And that's the easiest and most popular method of the 369 manifestation technique. Is you write it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night. And it's a very simple practice to do. Now, I'm not doing it that way. I like more of a challenge. So I found another guy on YouTube that recommends doing it, every 3 hours. So let's say you wake up at 6 in the morning. You get up at 6 in the morning. You write down your affirmation 3 times. And then 3 hours later, 9 o'clock in the morning, you write down your affirmation again 3 more times. And then 3 hours from that, at noon, you write down your affirmation 3 more times. And then 3 hours later, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you write out your intention 3 times. And then 6 o'clock, do it again. 9 o'clock, do it again. And then take 8 hours out for sleep, and then get up at 6 o'clock the next morning, start the whole process over again. Another 3-fold rule that we like to follow in this 3D reality: lather, rinse, repeat. And that's the way you do that technique. And that's the way I'm doing it, because to me, it's like it's more the power of 3. It's more the number 3. And I generally tend to get up at 6 in the morning anyway. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try that. 6 in the morning, do write my affirmation 3 times. 9 o'clock in the morning, same thing. 12 o'clock, which what does 12 break down to? 1 plus 2 is 3. So you can say that's like a root of 3. Do it again. And 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And by the end of the day, I started this practice just yesterday, and I had an affirmation that I just kind of threw together. And what I noticed is, as I was writing that down, I found myself thinking, is this the best way that I could be stating this affirmation? And after about writing the affirmation down for 6 times, I had it committed to memory. And then I began to analyze it and thinking, I could improve this by adding this phrase to it. And so I added that phrase to it. And then after kind of working with it for another few rounds of repetitions, began to notice, I think I could make this even better. And by the time 9 o'clock in the evening came around, I had that affirmation to the point where I was totally happy with it. This is what I want to try to manifest in my life. This is why I want to manifest this in my life. And this is what I hope to do once I get this thing manifested in my life. So again, threefold pattern. Started out with a simple one-line affirmation. And then I started adding some meat to those bare bones, came up with a threefold affirmation, states what I want to manifest, why I want to manifest, what I'm wanting to manifest, and what I'm going to do once I get that manifested. And so, yeah, pretty neat. So, if you are working with affirmations, and maybe like me, you've been working with affirmations for a while, and you can just repeat it over and over and over again like a little mynah bird, and it doesn't really seem to have an impact, I would suggest, try writing it down. Not 108 times, but maybe 3 times in one sitting, and then maybe 6 times in another sitting, and maybe 9 times in another sitting, or just keep just every 3 hours, write it 3 times. And you don't have to get up, every 3 hours while you're sleeping. Take time out to sleep, take time out to eat. But, definitely during your waking hours, every 3 hours, kind of schedule it to where you've done 6 repetitions of, writing your intention down 3 times. And oddly enough, 3 times 6, that's 18. It breaks down to one of the holy numbers in Hinduism. And what's 1 plus 8? Breaks down to 9. So yeah, you see that pattern in that practice of the 3-6-9 manifestation tool as well. But yeah, there are many different ways to practice this. And after starting it yesterday, I have a really good feeling about, how this is working out. And definitely, I'm impressed, at my age, going on 62 pretty soon, that, it's an easy memorization technique, to say the least. If you want to remember something, try writing it down. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then do that every 3 hours and see how your memory improves after that. With me, yeah, pretty darn nice. Not too bad at all. It really helps in memorization. And if you can remember an affirmation, if you can get it into your subconscious mind, if you can start believing it, if you can start empowering it with positive feelings, positive actions, inspired actions, then you can take those affirmations, those mental projections in your head, and you can manifest it, turn it into something beautiful in the rock solid brick and mortar 3D world that we are all a part of. So yeah, day 1 of the 3-6-9 manifestation technique, I would say right now it's more wow than woo-woo. But, if you want to try it yourself, go ahead. Some people say do it for 9 days. Some people are doing it for 30 days. I'm giving it 30 days in my practice and seeing what happens. But yeah, definitely seeing a difference in my own attitude using this very simple technique. And I mean, yeah, just whip out a pen, whip out a pencil, whip out a few pieces of loose leaf notebook paper, write it down on scrap paper if you want, or if you want to do, put it in a journal where you can keep track of your affirmations, you can do it that way too. But you can make this as simple or as complicated as you like. But I think if you just do it, you will notice some benefits, possibly, if you're open to making change in your life. So, yeah, be giving further updates as I get further into this practice. So, yeah, there you have it there. So thanks for dropping by. I am going to end this podcast at this point. But, if you like to, if you've done the 369 manifestation technique, let me know in the comments down below what has been your experience and what you think about manifestation. Is it wow or is it just woo woo? Let me know. See you later. Bye bye.